In this video, we'll review how to enable two-factor authentication for JCM. This feature adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to enter a code sent to their email before logging in. Prior to enabling two-factor authentication, you must attach email addresses to user IDs. You can either manually assign email addresses in advance or allow users to enter their email address during login. To manually assign an email address, navigate to Administration, User Management, User Administration. Select the appropriate user. Then select the User Options button. Enter the user's email address in the user's email address field. Then select OK and OK to save. To enable the two-factor authentication, navigate to System Administration, System Setup, System Parameters. Select the Password Controls button on the right side of the screen. The Password Controls window will appear. In the Two-Factor Authentication section, select the Enable Two-Factor Authentication for User Logins field to activate the two-factor authentication. The interval between two-factor logins field will be enabled when the Enable Two-Factor Authentication for User Logins field is selected. Use this field to set the time between 0 to 30 minutes between logins before a new authentication code will be required. Select the Allow User Email Control at Login field to allow a user ID without an email on file to add one during the authentication. Select OK to save. A warning will appear listing the number of users without an email on file. Select OK to confirm, then select OK again to save the settings. Now let's take a look at the two-factor authentication feature in action. First, log in with your credentials as usual. After submitting, the two-factor authentication window will appear and a code is sent to your email address. Enter the code from the email in the verification code field. Then select OK to log in. If a user doesn't have an email address and you allow them to add one during the authentication, after entering the credentials, the two-factor authentication window will appear, prompting them to enter an email address. They'll need to enter a valid email in the email and confirm email fields. Once they select OK, the two-factor authentication window will reappear with a code prompt. Follow the same steps to log in. If a user doesn't have an email address and you don't allow them to add one during the authentication, a pop-up window will appear indicating no email address is associated with their account, so login is not possible, and advise them to see their supervisor for assistance. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more how-to videos, and don't forget to subscribe.